Welcome to our technology conference. Thank you for taking time to join us today. You are going to see a lot of cool stuff throughout the day. My name is Lori de Los Santos. I am the CLL at Henry Ford Elementary. And today we're going to be going over EduAid AI. So this is a new way to plan instruction. So we've all heard about AI and how it's making a difference in people's lives. One that is being used a lot is ChatGPT. So some of us have heard of ChatGPT. EduAid, though, is geared towards teachers. Okay, so they have a lot of cool features that we'll be able to use in the classroom with our students, with our parents, and with our colleagues. Okay, so AI is going to be able to help us enhance our lessons, and we'll be able to communicate more effectively with parents, and it's just going to make our lives as teachers way easier. Okay. A little bit of housekeeping. So if you have not already registered, here's the workshop number. And then the remote check-in is Tech 23. And then once again, you only need to register once and check in once throughout the entire conference. Okay, then you can also tag us on social media with hashtag PSJ We Create. And then 5 posts will be rewarded with a cool PSJ We Create backpack. Okay, so make sure that you tag us on your posts. Okay, so for today's agenda, we're going to log into eduaid.ai. You can log in on your device, or you can just follow me as I navigate through the platform. We'll go over the landing page, and then we will explore the different tools that EduAid has to offer. Okay, and then at the very end, I will post the survey in the chat, and if you could please fill out the survey at the end of the session. Okay, so let's get started with EduAid. Let me just turn this on. Okay, so this is the website, eduaid.ai. And again, you can log in on your device or you can follow me. So I'm already signed in. And so this is the landing page when we log into the the site, the eduaid.ai. And right now we are in Generate Learning Content. And right here you see different tabs that you can navigate through. So for right now, we're going to be using the Planning tab, okay? So there are different sections that you can choose down here also, and we'll go through most of them just so you can see how they work. So the first one is Lesson Seed, and the Lesson Seed will help you generate a lesson plan outline with an objective, possible strategies, and a range of options for assignments and activities. So what I like to do is I like to just grab my TEKS and then just paste it down here. This is where you type what you want the program to run for you. So right now we're going to start with a second grade math lesson. So I want the AI to create a lesson aligned with TEKS 2.2 using standard, word, and expanded forms to represent numbers to 1200. And I also wanted to include content and language objectives, okay? And then I also added that I wanted to make connections to the Sustainable Development Goals and also include differentiated assessments. So those are all the things that I wanted to generate for me. The more specific you are, the better, right? Because it'll be more specific to your needs. So once you input that, you just click Add to Workspace, and then it starts generating your lesson on the site. Okay. I did forget to do one thing, guys, right here. Choose the subject first. So this is math second grade. So I'm going to clear this out. Oh, it's still going. So I'll keep clearing it. Okay, so math second grade. lesson seed and still the same topic, and I will add it to my workspace, and here it goes. Okay, so it created my content objective that the students will be able to use standard word and expanded forms to represent numbers to 1200, created my language objective that they're going to be able to explain the concepts of standard word and expanded forms. It also made the connection with the sustainable development goals. So this is goal number 4, quality education. Okay, so by developing strong number sense and mathematical skills, students can contribute to achieving quality education for all. Then it gives me differentiated assessments that I can use for my students. And then it gives me the entire lesson structure, okay? It even gives me cues. It gives me activities for guided practice for my students, partner work, aligns it with real world examples for my kiddos, gives me additional assignment ideas, and then more ways that we can make connections to the real world. And it even includes closure questions to wrap up my lesson, okay? So this is an example of a second grade math lesson. So now let's try a reading lesson. So up here, or every time you run one of your topics, you can just clear it up here. Or if it's something that you want to save, you can just save the document up here just by naming it. So I'm going to name it second grade, and then you can click save. Okay, and then I'll show you where you can find those lessons later. Okay, so now I'm going to clear this. And now we're going to create a reading second grade lesson. Okay, so I will delete this. Okay, so there's any second grade teachers in here, this is one of the stories that you all go through from your Pearson book, How Many Stars in the Sky. So I want the program to create a lesson for the story, How Many Stars in the Sky. And I wanted to align with the Reading Teaks 2.2D, which is describe the importance of setting. I also wanted to include content language objectives and make connections to the sustainable goals along with differentiated assessments. Okay, so I'll just click add to workspace, and then it'll start creating my lesson for me aligned with How Many Stars in the Sky. Okay, it has my content objectives that they're going to identify the setting and the importance of the setting, make connections with the setting and real world experiences, my language objectives. Here are the connections to the sustainable development goals, quality education, and also goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation. Students will learn about different settings, including natural environment. And this story is more about sky like pollution and how that affects like what we can see. So they aligned it with goal 6. Then we have the different assessments that we can do with this lesson. Different teaching strategies for us, cue sets and activities, assignment ideas, same thing, so much information, so much that we can do with our kids. Okay, closure questions. Okay, so that is the lesson seed. Now we're going to move on to engagement activities. Okay, the first one we're going to look at, we're going to create a middle school activity. So we'll go with social studies and we'll do an 8th grade or middle school engagement activities. This one I'm going to clear. So now I wanted to create a lesson for Social Studies TEKS 8.6C, which is explain the causes and effects of the U.S.-Mexican War and their impact on the United States. And I want it to include content and language objectives. Okay, so we just click. And it starts creating our activities for us. It includes the content objective, language objective, introduction, and then the different activities that we can do with our students, and they're less than 5 minutes each. Just something to get them engaged. And there's a variety of activities that you can choose from. And then it gives you the conclusion to wrap up your lesson. Okay. Are there any questions so far? Let me move this over. No, we're good. Okay, let's continue. So the next one we're going to do is, I will clear this workspace. We'll go to the evidence statements. Okay, the evidence statements, these help us craft look like or sound like statements so we can empower our students. Okay, so we will use a math TEKS. And this is 7th grade, so I will change my subject to math, still middle school, and we're using evidence statements. And this is math 7.13F, analyze and compare monetary incentives, including sales, rebates, and coupons. Still want content and language objectives, and still making connections to the sustainable goals. Okay, so once I input that in, I add it to my workspace. And then it starts creating the statements for me, along with my content objective. So we're going to understand and analyze different types of monetary incentives. We're going to compare and contrast the effectiveness. And then we're going to use appropriate vocabulary. This is for the language objectives. Okay, and then it gives us the different levels of blooms, how the kids should be responding, what we can be asking them, just so we can make sure that they are understanding the concept. Okay. Okay, so those are the evidence statements. Now we'll go into the general lesson plan. And so this one will create an entire lesson plan for us aligned with whatever TEKS we input. So we're going to go with math still, and we're going to try a 3rd grade one now. And we wanted to generate a lesson plan. So this can get cleared. If you don't clear it, it'll just continue on the bottom, so it's not a big deal. So I want it to create a lesson aligned with math TEKS 3.6A, which is classify and sort 2- and 3-dimensional figures. Okay. Still objectives, and I still want connections to the sustainability goals. So I add it to my workspace, and it's generating an entire lesson plan for me. Okay. It does work with Spanish, and I will show you how to do that right now. Do you have to write the word? No, you do not have to put create. You can just put what topic, whatever topic you want it to run for you. Okay, so let's continue. The next one I am going to do is a Spanish lesson. So this will be a reading, and this will be a 4th grade. So if we have any 4th grade teachers in here, you have a a story titled Westlandia. And so I wanted to generate a lesson. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so I inputted the topic. I did input it in Spanish. So let's see, add to workspace. It is putting it in English, but I can change the output language up here. And right now it's set to English, so we can change the output language to Spanish. Okay, so let me clear this. And make sure my output language is Spanish, and then I will add this to my workspace. And now the lesson plan comes out in Spanish with your content objectives, your language objectives, and your cultural objectives. It gives you the bell ringer, teaching points, activities in Spanish, your closure, questions that you can ask. So very, very cool that it is available in Spanish. I know that bilingual teachers, there's a little struggle with finding, and I see all the questions. This is as far as it goes here, but we could do, like, let's do this one. Let's try a lesson seed with this. Let's see if it'll generate more questions for you. So right now I'm on lesson seed, and it's still, the output is still Spanish. And here are some more sample questions. Oh, the topic that I wrote. Here's the topic on the side. I can't make it bigger. Okay. You're welcome, Ms. Lopez. Okay, so yes, it is available in Spanish and in other languages if you need to. Okay, so let me switch this back so we can move on to the next one. So I'm going to clear this, and then I'm going to change this back to English. And we're going to go into the next tab, which is learning target and success criteria. So this is where you can create your objectives for your class and the steps needed to reach those objectives. Okay, so we're going to go with a science 8th grade, TEKS, and we're working with learning targets. And so like here, I did not put create mystery bed, I just put the TEKS on here, and I wanted to generate learning targets and success criteria. So, and the TEKS is, I'm sorry, this is kindergarten. So this is a kindergarten standard. So science K.8C, observe, describe, and illustrate objects in the sky, such as the clouds, moon, stars, and sun. And it's creating learning targets and success criteria. So the target is that by the end of the lesson, students will be able to observe and describe and illustrate the objects in the sky. And then how will I know that they're successful? Well, they will be able to do these things. Okay. Okay, so that is the learning target and success criteria. There's also a section where it can create lesson plans using the 5E model. That's something that you like to create. You can go in here to do that. It will also create rubrics for you. If you're having your kiddos work on a project, it will create rubrics for you. That way that they know what they need in their project and how you will be grading them. So let me show you one, and this is going to be a 4th grade reading lesson. So language arts, 4th grade, and we are working with rubrics. And so I wanted to create a rubric for language arts TEKS 4.10c, which is analyze the author's use of print and graphic features to achieve specific purposes. So I will add it to my workspace. And remember, I told you if you don't clear it, it will just continue on typing on the bottom of your workspace. So starting right here, this is the rubric that it's generating for me. So it has different criteria. So criteria 1, identification of print and graphic features. And then this will be in the rubric, 1, 2, and 3 points. Criteria 2 is analysis of purpose, 1, 2, and 3 points. And then criteria 3, supporting evidence. And then it creates somewhat of a spreadsheet representation down here. Okay, let me try another one, see if it'll be more specific. This is a science rubric for 5th graders. Let me clear this. And this is on 5.10b, differentiate between inherited traits of plants and animals. And so this is the rubric that it generated for us. Okay, different points. And then here was a little more specific with the rubric. Okay, so another good tool that we can use in the classroom. The last one on this planning tab is the unit plan. Okay, so it can create an entire unit for you. So we will create a 1st grade math unit. And again, guys, I just pulled the TEKS from Lead Forward. I just copy pasted it. I did not have to really think about what I was going to type. The AI is doing all the thinking for you. So this is 1st grade math, and we're going to ask it to create an entire unit. And I want it to be aligned with 1.5D, which is represent word problems involving addition and subtraction of whole numbers. I want it to include the objectives and differentiated assessments. So I will click add. And then it will generate my entire unit for me with objectives. This would be my first lesson of the unit. My second lesson. And so on. Okay, any questions so far? Oh, and down here are the different assessments that you can use at the end of your unit. Okay, so very good. We're going to move on. This was just the planning part. Okay, so if you need help planning a lesson, this is where you go. This next one is the information objects. So on here, it gives us different things that we can do. So let me do this. The first one I want to go over is.
Hey, Lori, and also you have a couple of questions in the chat, just
Oh,
letting you know.
I can't see that. Sorry.
If you want, I can read them.
Okay.
One said, Holly said, sorry if you already answered this, but may we modify slash, I guess, differentiate the rubrics?
Uh-huh. Yes, you can. If you're more specific in the rubric, remember I was just pulling the TEKS directly from there. But if there's specific things that you want included in your rubric, then that's what you will type down here on your topics and keywords. Okay.
You had a second question from
Uh-huh.
Kristen. It was, will EduAid be available for educators to use on campus using campus-issued iPads and the Wi-Fi?
Yes, I do use this on my campus. It's not blocked. I know ChatGPT was blocked, but this is available on campus devices.
Oh, and I'm just gonna chime in on what you just said. You
Uh-huh.
can use ChatGPT, but you can't use your district credentials. You have to use your personal. So like
Mm.
in my case, my personal account is markt413@gmail.com. I could do that, but I can't use my marco.torres at PSJ. So just kind of giving you all a heads up on that. But all right, sorry about that, Lori.
No, thank you, Marco.
You got it.
Okay, so moving on. Now I have my question screen open. So if you have questions, I will be able to see it now. Okay, so moving on. We are in the information tab. And so we're going to start with demonstration. This one is going to help us captivate students with a demonstration. So we're going to work with a science 6th grade TEKS. Here, science middle school demonstration. And this is their TEKS 6.8a, compare and contrast potential and kinetic energy. And so if we just need additional demonstrations for science, especially if we need to support our lab teacher, we can come in here and get ideas on things that we can do in our classroom to help support our kiddos. Okay, so we have the introduction, the main idea, and then this is the demonstration, one of the demonstrations. Then we have another demonstration. Okay, then you have some questions that you can ask your students. And then your conclusion, the wrap up of your demonstration. Okay, so very cool in case you need, supplemental activities for your classroom. Okay, this anchor chart one, I really did not get a lot of use out of this one. It's not going to give you like pictures or anything nice that you can put up in your classroom, but we'll try it real quick just so you can see what it looks like. Let's do like 1st grade math, time to the hour. It's a 1st grade TEKS. Oops, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I am in information tab under anchor chart, math, 1st grade, time to the hour, 1st grade TEKS. And so it's not really something you can post, but it is, additional information for you. Okay, so you can also, if you need a instructional script, this is where you go. If you need to create lists, there's a tab for that too. So we're going to move on to the independent practice. We can create real-world examples, assignment with mistakes, right? So the kids can go back and correct mistakes. We can model, we can develop a research project, and we can create worksheets on here also. Okay, so I'm going to go into the model. And we'll do a science one again. This will be science 5th grade. And common information. Sorry, here, model. Okay. And I want the AI to model the use of energy, including mechanical, light, thermoelectrical, and sound energy. And this is a 5th grade 5.6a. Okay. So it tells me the materials that I'm going to need to be able to model, right? Okay, and gives me step by step on what I need to do to create this or have my students create this, how it will be used. It even includes an extension to the model, okay? Let's do one more if I have any, or we'll go into reading comprehension now. So if I have any 4th grade teachers in here, one of your stories is Rare Treasure, Mary Anning. So we'll create a reading comprehension lesson using that story. Language arts and 4th grade. Reading comprehension. And so all I put in was a line with the story, Rare Treasure Mary Anning, and her remarkable discoveries, and then the author. Okay. Add to Workspace. And so it gives me a summary of the story. And then it generates some comprehension questions for me. Okay. And then the conclusion. Now I want to go into the cooperative learning tab, okay? And I'm going to use the same story, Rare Treasure Mary Anning, 4th grade, but I wanted to create a game for me, okay? I wanted to create a Jeopardy style game for me. And I'm going to leave it the same. I still want it with that story. So I want to add it to my workspace. Okay, and it gives me the questions that I can put into my Jeopardy game. Okay, this is pretty much the same as this one, the review game. Let me clear this one. This one, this review game will also generate questions for me. It gives me directions for the game. And it gives me questions that I can add into my game. And so this morning I did that really quickly. took me less than 10 minutes. I just copied and pasted the questions that the AI generated for me. And I created a quick Jeopardy game, something fun, a review for your kids when you're done with the story. Click, what country was she from? They answer, you go back, click another one under fossil discoveries. So you just copy and paste the questions that it generates for you, and you make it a fun review for your students. Okay, it takes the work out of us having to create the questions for the game. We'll just have to copy and paste them into a template like this for them. Okay, so I thought this was a really, really cool one. Okay, so that's the Jeopardy. Okay, there's also team-based activities that you can run for your students. If you need a PBL, you can get ideas from here. We're shifting a lot of our instruction towards the Common Instructional Framework. So if you need think, pair, share ideas, you can go in here. Jigsaw activities for your kiddos. This site is endless. There's so many resources on here. I don't know where this has been all my life, but I love it and I use it even with my teachers during my my meetings with them. So we're going to move on. And now down here, remember, we're still in generated learning content. So there's a lot more to explore on this website. If you click the questions tabs, you can generate discussion prompts for stories that you're reading, extension questions, multiple choice, matching, all types of questions you can generate on here. If you're focusing on vocabulary, you can generate vocabulary word problems, true or false. These are all just different types of questions that you can generate for your students. Okay, now I want to switch it up. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click into the Assistant tab. Okay, right now we were in Content Generator. Now we're going to switch up and go into Assistant. Now, this is like your own teacher assistant that's going to help you here. You have professional duties, accessibility, wellness, and productivity. Okay, so since I'm in elementary, I'm going to choose, let's do 3rd grade, right? And let's say that I need to create a class announcement to post on my class dojo or send out to my parents. So I can just do this. And I want to remind them about Meet the Teacher. Let's just say Meet the Teacher night is going to be Thursday, August 17th. I need to send a quick reminder. You just type it down there, what you want it to generate, and it'll generate the announcement for you. Copy paste it into Class Dojo. Okay, attention 3rd grade students, join us, Meet the Teacher night, get to know your teacher, be going over these things. And remember, this is just very broad. If you want to make it more specific, you can. Please bring school supplies and field trip money. Let's just say we're taking a field trip. Add it to your workspace and it'll create okay, copy paste and how I went to teacher assistant. So I just clicked on this little line right here and assistant. We were in content generator. Now I just clicked on assistant and it took me here. Okay, Ms. Lopez. Now let's see if this will generate in Spanish. Let's remind our bilingual parents about Meet the Teacher. So I will change my output language to Spanish. I'm going to leave this English down here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I typed the topic in English and then the output came to me in Spanish. Okay. So very cool. That is the class announcement. Okay, now let's go into email home. So going to go to preschool because my topic is going to be about a student that has bit another student. Okay, so if I have any early elementary teachers in here, we may have come across this. So email, I just wanted to email an email informing parents of a child biting a student, and I'm here on email. So I'm going to add it to my workspace. And then it'll generate a tactful email, or if you're going to make the phone call home to, tell the parent that this incident happened and you need, some help with how to word it. Sometimes we get, those difficult situations that we have to call parents about. So this can help you, kind of guide you on how you can explain to the parents, a difficult situation that happened in the classroom. Okay, during playtime, this happened. Please address it with your student. Reach out if you have any questions. Okay, so let's try one more. As a former kindergarten teacher, this has happened to me where I have to call a parent about child cutting their own hair. So it'll generate, a nice way to contact parents and what you should say. Okay, so that is the email home. Very useful. So let's go into student update. Okay, let's say I need to update parents or counselor or whoever on a particular student. So I just want to send an update saying that the student is showing progress. Okay, now again, you can be more specific, but for today, it's going to be very broad, and I'll add it to my workspace. And it'll give me a way to send this information over about the student showing progress. Okay. You need to be more specific. You can add that in your topic down here. Okay, so you have other tabs in here that you can explore. A lot of cool stuff in the teaching assistant. Okay. Let me see accessibility. Okay, if you need to create a list of accommodations for your student, okay, to make sure that you are meeting all their needs. Let's do a second grade student accommodation list. Let's just say that the student is has a difficult time staying in their seat. So then it gives us different strategies that we can use with that student. You can include more than one on the list, and it'll give you different ways that you can help your student in the classroom. Okay, so that's the accommodation list. There's a behavior intervention plan. If you have a challenging student that needs to be on a BIP, you can create something here with the help of your counselor. Let's say that the student has outbursts and hits other students. So let's create a behavior intervention plan for the student. Okay. So it does ask that you do some data collection first, that there's positive reinforcement, make sure there's consequences, how you can implement it, and how you can review and evaluate it. Okay. There's also an IEP outline, a Lexile decreaser, which I really, really liked. So I will show you that one very quickly. So for the Lexile decreaser, I chose this passage right here. This is a released fourth grade star release. I want to say it's from last year. So I'm just going to copy the entire text. I highlighted the text, I copied it, and then you're just going to put it in here, the entire text. And then add to your workspace, and it will decrease the Lexile on it. Okay. So very, very cool. If you have a passage that's a little difficult for your students, you can decrease the Lexile, or if you need it a little more challenging, you can increase the Lexile in here. Okay, so very good way to differentiate for your kids. Okay, there's also a wellness tab in here. So if you're needing an icebreaker with your students, you can go here to get icebreaker ideas. Mindfulness activities for SEL, you can find them here. You can find actual SEL activities there. So let's do one of those real quick. So I want an SEL activity. Let's see, on SEL activity on friendship. So building strong friendships, it gives me my objective. And then an activity that I can do with the kids, the materials I need, how to roll it out in the classroom. And then some questions at the end. Okay. Also, if you need a team building activity, you can go here and then just put keywords or a topic that you want the activity built around. There's productivity, the productivity tab. You can create lists, a framework, if you need some credible sources, you can find them there. So if you're doing a research on something, you can go to credible source list, and let's say that my upperclassmen want to know the effects of COVID on elementary students. Okay. So it's going to pull actual research from, journals, credible sources on the topic that you put in there. Okay. So very good right here. EduAid chat. Here you can chat with AI. If these things are not to your liking, you can go in there. I have not tried this tool yet. But if you need to chat, you can go in there. You need to send some feedback, that's where you would go. And the last one is the assessment builder. So here you would type in your objective or your standard. So let's try one. This is a third grade math. So if you want, you select the types of questions that you want the assessment builder to include. So if you want multiple choice, you want fill in the blank, and only one at a time, sorry. So let's just say multiple choice. Let's generate the questions. It's thinking. Okay. And then it has the questions down here. If you like this one, you can add it. If you need it a little more difficult, do that, add it. You can even edit your question. And then here you would just export whatever questions you decided to choose. Okay, and they're down here. Okay, and then the final thing right here, this is where our saved content goes. So this is the one that we saved earlier, representing numbers, second grade. So if you save something, this is where you will find it. You can preview it here. You can load it into your workspace, or you can delete it or move it to a class. Okay. Any questions? I know that was a lot of information for you all. But again, it is a very, very cool website. There's so many things that can be done on here. And it's from early elementary all the way to high school. All of us can use this, and it will make our lives much, much easier.